fans, to another episode of Before the Bald Man Speaks. I am your host, as always, Andrew, the Clown Kid Lawrence. There's few moments in life where you realize, like, man, have I made wrong decisions? And when you constantly introduce yourself as the Clown Kid, you think, maybe I've made some poor choices in my life. But no, we're coming live to you directly after UFC Fight Night. God, 79, yeah, from Seoul, South Korea, in the main event between Benson Henderson and Jorge Masvidal. I'll go with the predictable results to that main event. Here to break down the action with me, and my guest this week is at Joey G Sports on Twitter. Joey Garner, how you doing, brother?
I am doing pretty well considering I haven't slept but maybe about 20 minutes in the past 24 hours or more. I can't even count right now. I'm so delirious.
See, there was two tactics to go with this fight. You could either like get to bed early and go with the early rise, or you could power through. And it really depended on time zone. You're in Texas, right?
Yes, I'm Central Time Zone, so
Yeah.
the prelim started at 4 a.m.
See, that's a tough one. The
Yeah,
For the East Coasters, I thought it was pretty easy. I was just like, all right, I'll hit the bed at 11, get 6 solid hours. I'm up at 5. Let's do the thing.
makes sense.
Yeah,
I just
4.
felt like if I went to sleep, 0% chance I was going to make it for the early ones, which turns out would have been a bad deal because a lot of those early fights, save maybe one, if I remember correctly, were pretty decent.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking over, like, I give grades for every fight. If you watch this show, you know I talk about my grades probably too much. One fight got below a C, and that fight got an F, so it was fucking horrible. It got the elusive F. But we'll talk about those later. Let's talk about this main event and just like get right into it. Jorge Masvidal, availed himself very well in this fight. I thought that he showed up and made the rounds very close. It was an extremely close fight. I just think Benson Henderson did what Benson Henderson does, and that's like, give the appearance of winning the rounds, and then those accumulate, and stock up enough on the scorecards, and you get the decision.
Absolutely. He did what Benson Henderson does. He just wins rounds, man. It was said by me and Nate on Cage Cash. I know it was said by the boys on MMA Analysis. It was said by a lot of people, man. Very few people in MMA win rounds as well as Benson Henderson. He just has his way of getting. Yeah, see, even my dog agrees. She wants to steal the spotlight here. Say hi to everybody. This is Stella. If anybody can see her, she's kind of shy. She won't show her whole face. But anyway, man, he's so creative in there. Even in moments when it looks like the rounds might be slipping away from him, he's manages from the clinch to throw some back elbows over the top and hit Masvidal. He throws kicks while in the clinch, which is a rarity. Just some unorthodox stuff, thigh punches, all kinds of. He just stays busy. And Masvidal equipped himself about as well as I think he could. His takedown defense was on point until the very end of the fight. He did Masvidal things. Masvidal is also like the antithesis of Ben Henderson. Ben Henderson's really great at winning rounds. Masvidal's great at losing them by being inactive or smiling when he gets hit in the face and not throwing a punch back. It's just it was tense. It was a bit close, but really the result was never in doubt in my eyes. And as you said, pretty predictable. Ben by
Yeah,
decision.
yeah, I agreed with the judge that gave 4 rounds to Benson Henderson. I don't mind a 3-round score for Ben. I don't even really mind the 3 rounds to Jorge, but I really feel like, this is just a constant thing, and it's not a luck thing. It's not like and it's not like a fate thing, or I'm cheap. It's really like Benson Henderson understands what's going on in the process of a fight being judged. He understands that at the weight class that he's at, well, now in his new weight class, not so much so, but a vast majority of high level fights are going to go to a decision. And how do we present to the judges that we've dominated a round? How do we convince them, whether it be in the last 15 seconds with a nice rush and a flashy technique, or a stealing around with the takedown? How do we go about showing these judges that we clearly won the fight? Or not even clearly, just enough of an edge to mark down that round. He's very, very well aware of it and probably even trained for it. Whereas Jorge Masvidal, almost disdains that aspect of it. He almost thinks that, that fighting for the sake of a judge is the wrong way to do it. How did you score the fight anyway?
You know, I agree with the 49-46. Honestly, I could have seen a 50-45 as well. I mean, it is in the rounds sort of blurred together for me. Like I said, short on sleep. There was a round or two, I think, namely the first and maybe the fourth. I'm not positive that you could make a decent argument, but I didn't really see him getting both of them. I mean, it's one of those things where, like you said, Ben stays busy. Ben's very aware of what the judges want. Another thing he did that I didn't mention earlier, something that I don't see hardly anybody do, he was able to, when he had the plum and he was working on Masvidal dropped down a little bit, and Ben was able to grab, like, I guess it's a difficult position for me to elaborate on, but anyway, Jorge tried to post on a hand so he
Yeah.
couldn't knee him in the head, and Ben's pulling his torso up so he can knee him in the head. And I just thought that was just awesome. That's just cool things that you don't see people do that's very effective. And man, the hair swipe, Ben's got a great poker face. I mean, he got kicked a couple times to the body where I really felt like Masvidal hurt him a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing major, but definitely a solid shot. Ben played it off like nothing happened. And then his persistence. He knew at the end of the fight, if he could make it dirty, Masvidal was getting tired, he would clearly win. Ben's better scramble ability, for lack of a better expression, that played true in the end as well. He stayed on his hips. He ended up getting takedowns. He ended up winning in the scramble late, which won him the 5th round. And I guess, the way this fight ended up being scored, that pretty much secured the decision for him.
Yeah, it all comes down to, someone who just has like a really big fight IQ, and someone who I don't even really want to say that Jorge lacks it, because his technical skill and his ability to judge range is really great, and I agree. I thought that his wrestling or his almost anti-wrestling was really on point for this fight, but when you talk about just like presenting an overall case of like how did I win this fight, I don't think that if you go back and like put together evidence that you can really put together a really solid case that he won 3 out of those 5 rounds, and that's ultimately, how it's going to go. That pivotal 5th round, I think, it's an absolute solid point you made that Jorge Masvidal, whether it be he wasn't training for the fight, whether it be his diet, he just really wasn't there, and didn't have the gas tank to really win those scrambles when it looked like he could. I thought his body work was exceptional. A couple of those body shots, I thought that Benson was done, and if he had followed up or just been a little luckier in those exchanges, I thought that Benson was really good defensively in the exchanges when he had his back to the fence, and it seemed like Jorge was about to swarm on him. He was really duck his head, like traditional boxing style, bent at the waist. Doing that circle, and then alternating throwing some hooks, not the cleanest hooks, but this is MMA, so you expect a little bit of wild hooks being thrown in a case like that. I just thought he was really smart, and we just saw what makes Benson Henderson. He's able to win fights at the elite level of mixed martial arts, and that's who he is, whether it's at 170 pounds or 155 pounds. What do you think happens with Benson Henderson here? If you don't know, it's his last fight in his contract with the UFC. He decided to fight it out. He's going to test the waters with free agency. Do you think the UFC wants to pony up the dollars that Bellator will to keep someone like Ben?
That's an interesting question, because obviously Bellator is going to make a play. He'd be great for their 155-pound division, which is growing in talent by the day, it seems. And there's plenty of interesting matchups for him there. I'd love 100% to see Benson Henderson fight Michael Chandler, fight Will Brooks. Those fights would be awesome. I mean, I just like watching Benson Henderson fight in general. Like you were saying all these things about him just a minute ago. I can sum it up pretty much in one word. He's smooth. He has a fitting nickname. I mean, he just knows how to get things done. And will the UFC pay to keep him in? I don't know. It depends. I mean, that 155-pound division doesn't really have a face. I mean, I guess the closest thing would be Donald Cerrone. If he wins the belt from Dos Anjos, I think Ben Henderson has a really good claim to come right back in and be right in line for a title shot because I feel like he beat Cowboy in the last fight. I mean, that would be probably the first notable MMA foursome or whatever you want to call it, the Volume 4.
Yeah, a
So,
quintet.
yeah, there you go. You had to use the proper word for me. Uh, I think they should. I don't know if they will. I'll be sad if they don't, but there are good fights for them abroad. And I guess to put to bed the Henderson and Masvidal fight, I got to give a shout out to my boys, MMA Genius, best fight picks. I know they were on the side of Masvidal. Your boy fought hard. But as far as the wrestling is concerned, the one comment that I thought was a little whack is that Masvidal had better wrestling than Bendo. That simply was not true. Wrestling, grappling, he fared well, but the grappling was clearly Ben's, and that's what won him the fight in the end. So better luck next time, boys. Yeah, I can't wait to see Ben get back in there.
Dan Levy will never live down the Masvidal wrestles better than Bendo.
Hey, well, he gets to live up the Conor over Mendez, so we got to give him a little shot back whenever we can.
Man, okay, yeah, sure. You called it, but let's be real. He was the favorite going into that fight. Yeah, I thought, though, overall, if we're going to talk about Dan's point, I think that Dan, got a little overexcited, but I think he made a solid point, is that Masvidal's, MMA grappling is pretty good, and he was able to keep it kind of in boxing range for most of the fight.
Yeah.
I thought he was really great in the scrambles, and when he was taken down, he popped right back up. I thought that Benson Henderson was going to be bigger than Jorge Masvidal for some dumb reason, but they're both big 155ers, so I guess
the Oreos made the difference. And by the way, over 17.5 Oreos, that's a clear winner, 100%.
Yeah,
never in doubt, as we say.
Yeah, the over on that only paid minus 300, so yeah, the public line pushed the over 17 Oreos really far. Let's talk about some other.
Right, keep going.
Yeah, minus 300 on it. Yeah. How many Oreos are in a pack? He definitely ate a half pack of Oreos.
That's a great question. I'm gonna make an estimate. There's got to be like at least 15 in a row, right?
If there 12? Isn't, Nabisco's fucking America over.
There's at least 30 Oreos in a box, like a regular size box. There's got to be more than that, though.
Definitely. And I'll go on a limb and say he cleaned out at least 2 rows of Oreos.
Who doesn't, though, right?
Yeah, they just kind of like snowball.
Tough not to, especially if you got a nice, half gallon of milk there to be put away with it. It's tough, man.
That Oreo diet, man, it'll kill you in the championship rounds.
That and the Korean barbecue.
Yeah. Which is an interesting combination: milk, Oreos, and Korean barbecue. Probably not the easiest on the digestive tract.
Probably not.
All right, let's talk about the co-main event for a little bit here. Stun Gun Kim, the more important of the two, Dong Hyun Kim's, just completely waxes Dominic Waters in a Roy Nelson on Tough 10-esque performance.
Two things. First of all, don't say the little Dong wasn't important, because he probably just gifted Dominic Steele the only UFC win he'll ever get, so that he's pretty important in that regard.
Ouch.
Now, secondly, I have a confession to make. About the 20 minutes of sleep that I got actually occurred during the co-main event. So for some reason, I fell asleep after the Akiyama fight, and I don't even know what woke me up. I think it was just one of those loud McGregor Aldo promos, and I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
How much time has passed? I look at my phone and Twitter, and like every comment that's on my screen still was like 25 minutes old. I was like, oh, shit. Well, I guess the fight didn't go to decision, so I started scrolling up, and apparently the Donger got some sort of crucifix, right?
Yeah, it was, I don't know. Poor Dominic Waters just decided to clinch with Stun Gun, and if, everyone kind of recently thinks of Stun Gun as a very exciting, welterweight, and sees him in these wars. But I remember Stun Gun when he used to just grind people out all day. So I know that. Yeah, I know. You put him, get into the clinch with him, he's going to put you on your back, and you're going to be down there for the rest of the round. And poor Dominic still kind of played himself right into that hand. And pretty much a lackluster fight. I mean, it's important to note, I think, that the UFC really did want to put together a much more exciting card. This was supposed to be Jorge Masvidal against Stun Gun, which I thought would be a great fight, seeing Jorge's anti-grappling skills now. That would have been war on the feet. And we were supposed to see Benson against Thiago Alves, so that would have been, equally awesome. And then Krokop was even supposed to be on this card. So, shit happens. This is the co-main event we got. That's it.
Card
That's all
got
I
a
have
big
to say.
takeover. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's what I gotta say. All right, let's talk about Sexyama a little bit here. Poor Sexyama, he's 40 years old, looking fantastic.
yeah, so say poor Sexyama. The dude looks like he's 20. I mean, can you really call him poor? I mean, I'm sure he's rolling in the veg. I'm sure he's just, he's like a rock star that side of the world. No pity for that man.
Yeah,
No
you're
pity
right.
for that man.
Yeah, you lost the fight, but you won the life.
Yeah, and plus, the guy he's fighting can't even hardly walk for the last 5 minutes of the fight. You don't manage to find some way to win that round decisively enough to at least salvage a draw or finish the guy. I don't know.
Sexyama's at the club tonight. Mina's not going to the club tonight.
Oh, 100%. Sexyama is probably getting laid as we speak, and Mina's laid up in the hospital.
Poor Mina. Yeah, enjoy your $15,000 win bonus.
You're right. You're right about that.
Sexyama made that on royalties on iTunes yesterday, bro. What are you talking about?
Sexyama's already thrown that out in cash at the strip club. I mean, Sexyama lost the fight, but he certainly won the war. Let's be honest.
Sexyama's canist. Their limo service cost 15 G's. What are you talking about, Mina?
No shit.
And by the way, if Mina made 15 G's for the win, I'd be fucking shocked.
Yeah, it's probably a 4-digit number.
It's a gross overestimation of what they're paying Alberto Mina.
He probably picked up an extra 500 from Reebok, though. So I mean, that's a plus, right?
Solid. Yeah, solid. The Japanese Brazilian Alberto Mina taking a split decision victory. This was a weird fight because you had around one that a lot of people were like, oh, that's easily Mina's. I scored it for Akiyama. I thought it was a coin flip. A second round where Akiyama basically died. It could have been stopped at any point, and I would have been like, all right, that's cool by me. And then by the third round, Mina's leg is shattered, and he cannot stand. Some people argued that the third round should be a 10-8. Some people argued that the second round should be a 10-8. Some people said both should be a 10-8. I scored it like a grand. Who gives a fuck? As much as I like Sexyama for a laugh, I'm not dying for him to be an MMA star, and I don't think that him versus Alberto Mina has any relevance on this sport, really.
No, none whatsoever. But he is still undefeated, so there you go. Whatever that means. Versus a bunch of cans and a 40-year-old who has a really special tanning bed, because whatever that tanning bed's doing for him, he looks extra cut. It makes him look bigger. The tanning bed
it injects you with HGH as you tan. That's how.
That's the full-on radiation tanning bed. He's some mutant now. He's not even human. He's just beastly.
This is what I think. This is his swan song fight. He's absolutely not going to fight again. They purposely, drug tested minimally. He's going to fail that drug test. No 40-year-old dude looks like that. Or if not, he has a fantastic, system of, whatever blood doping that he has going on there. But yeah, Yoshihiro Akiyama, the world's most sexiest Asian. True, false?
From my experiences, which are few and far between with the Asian women, you may have more expertise here than I. But yeah, he's certainly sexier than any Asian woman I've ever seen. So, I mean,
it's tough.
Yeah,
he's definitely the sexiest Asian MMA fighter, beating Rin Nakai by leaps and bounds.
Oh God, that's a tough one for me. I have a special place in my heart for Rin Nakai. God, I have like 5, 6 of her pictures just saved on my photos, so I can tweet them out randomly at any time. I bombed Lance Fisher with one earlier. I think he might have thrown up. Couldn't really tell. But yeah, what were we talking about? I just got a boner.
I'm sorry. Yeah, when all the blood rushes to your dick, it's hard to think, right?
So many dongs on this card, and then Rin Nakai, just the match made in heaven. No, Mina, yeah, he won the first round. I thought, it was close, whatever. I was like really not giving a shit at that point. Then the second round, Yeah, he almost killed the man, and so when he rocked him, naturally he dove for a takedown because that's what you should always do when people are injured and like falling over by themselves. Let's just help them fall over by not punching them more. Um, and then the third round, Mina didn't do anything. I would score around like that 10-8 because it wasn't like Akiyama was loading on the damage, but Mina was absolutely not trying to fight whatsoever. Like anytime he got on the ground, he's like, all right, I'm just going to lay here because you're probably not going to come down here. And then when the ref tells me to get up, it's going to take me a solid 5 to 8 seconds to actually resume fighting. Nah, man. Fuck that. I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. Give him you don't get 9 points on my scorecard if you don't attempt to fight.
Yeah,
So
that was.
maybe he couldn't, but I mean, hey, he might have been hurt. Obviously, his leg looked like, black and blue, but I don't know. Just my opinion. But I want to bet on Mina, so hey, there you go.
There you go. So your silver linings and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, my deal is if you're not physically able to fight, that's a good indication that maybe the fight should be stopped. If you're taking 10 seconds to get up to your feet, and I don't know where Akiyama's head's at, where the impetus is to finish. I know you don't want to go to the ground. He was pretty gassed though too, so I'll give the 40-year-old pop superstar, a pass on this one. Let's hope he doesn't fight again in the UFC and call it that.
Hey, but speaking of Akiyama's swan song, I doubt it's this, dude. Hey, Ryzen seems like it was tailor-made for a guy like Akiyama. Am I
Is there a
right?
50-year-old
Right.
dude that Ryzen can get to fight him?
No, but him and Wanderlei Silva can finally get that fight they were supposed to have at UFC 116 in the all-out roid match, and I would pay to watch that.
Oh yeah, let's get an exemption and allow them to use all the roids.
Or illegally stream it. That's what I meant when I said I'd pay for it. Yeah, I'd find it on the internet. For sure, 100%.
Well,
No
for
doubt.
sure, if it's gonna happen on New Year's, like I'm gonna be doing shit. So yeah, but New Year's Day, I got it on the torrent, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Do Ho Choi, put the hurt on Sam Cecilia. I was big and high, or I was big and high. Jesus Christ, I'm
Ooh.
always high.
I thought you said big and hot. I was like, ooh, easy, Andrew.
Take it easy.
On,
Okay.
There might be kids watching this, dude.
Children, don't watch this show. Well, no, watch the show. Just don't tell your parents. I was high on Sam Cecilia. I thought that he had the opportunity to kind of, expose Do Ho Choi. But the Choi man, was more than advertised and put Sam Cecilia to sleep. What did you think about the stoppage? We had freaking Kenny Florian putting him into a title shot. So, are you ready? You ready to see TJ Dillashaw, Bachman Choi?
No, man. Wait, hold up. Choi, yeah, 135. Sorry, trip. No, 145. What are you talking about, Dillashaw, man? Yeah, Cecilia ain't making 135. That's for damn sure.
I have this written down as a 35 fight. Maybe I'm such a moron. There is the high possibility that I
always
do
a distinct
smoke
possibility.
too much weed. So, yeah, is it 45? I mean, that even speaks worse to him. Let's keep him far away from the shot.
But there's so many people in line in front of him. It's like the food's gonna run out before you get to that lunch line at the end of it. But yeah, he's like what, 24? He's young, man. Yeah. I'll tell you what fight would be awesome is him and Tomas Almeida. That fight would be awesome.
Now we're thinking.
Wait, Almeida's a 135 though, isn't he? What am I talking about?
Well, that's the thing. What is this fight at? It is a featherweight bout. I'm an idiot. I'm sorry, guys. So he has to fight Jose Aldo.
Okay.
Chad Mendes. Can you imagine Chad Mendes against Do Ho Choi?
No. I mean, yeah, I can. Don't want to imagine it for the Koreans' sake, but no, he's a good fighter. He's a legit prospect. I mean, he's got some ability in him, but at the end of the day, Cecilia's the best guy he's fought, and he starched him, and no one's done that before. That's impressive. Right. Yeah. But slow your roll, Kenny. I mean, it's Kenny Florian. Can we really take anything he says seriously at this point?
Poor Kenny Florian is really has maybe taken the title from Goldie as the worst UFC commentator, and I'm a huge Kenny Florian fan, but he just really shouldn't be out there. That's wrong. Get John Anik a transcontinental flight, and let's have him on this Soul card, huh?
Yeah. Well, what's the guy's name? The play-by-play today, John something, John Gooden.
Yeah.
I like him. I don't have a problem with him.
Yeah, I
I
don't
like.
mind Gooden at all. Yeah.
I don't. As a soccer fan, I don't mind a good British accent. Filling me in on what the hell's going on. It's just the guy from the Northeast. The New Englander over there, Kenny Florian, just can't get his shit right. Maybe something in the water up there. Who knows? But oh, my bad. Aren't you from? Yeah, shit, my bad.
I'm in New Hampshire as we speak, visiting.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
okay.
we're New England strong over here. Um, we're not all as retarded as Kenny Florian, but yeah, it does. There is something in the water. Everyone has some level of mental, degradation going on. Yeah,
Watching strong.
stop. By the way, I'm gonna throw this out there. The Boston accent is maybe especially on women, maybe one of the worst things in the world.
Yeah, like, oh god, my brother and I, we love watching movies. We're big movie fans, and any movie with Boston folks in it, it's like, oh my god, yes. Can I
They all
please
put it on too hard.
can I get some broads out there eating some Pepperidge Farm?
It's not even
Girl
that bad in
Charlene
reality.
from the bar.
Fall River. I'm from Fall River. You don't know about it. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Everyone in the movies needs to calm down with their Boston accents.
So
What the
wicked,
fuck was I talking?
wicked hard, so hard.
Girls who have a Texas accent, some good down south girls, that's kind of cute.
Yeah.
No,
Although,
you don't like it when it twangs too much?
I mean, dude, I don't know. Maybe you all think that my accent is ridiculous. I don't know. I don't feel like it is because I live around folks that talk ridiculous
Yeah.
all the time, and they just sound stupid to me. Do I sound stupid? You can tell me if I do. It's all good. I'm
Well,
not
you
upset
don't
about it.
sound stupid because of your accent. It's just the things that you say make you sound stupid.
There you go. I set you up for that one. It's right on the tee.
Right there. My golf game's still pretty good. All right, so Doo Ho Choi. Yeah, I think, I was really impressed with his, ability to judge space and to time counter punches really well. It's hard to really know too much about a guy who's maybe clocked 3 minutes of UFC fighting time. So we'll see when he fights, elite people, because it seems like that's the path they're going to put him on, as dangerous as that sounds. All right, we had 6 prelim. Did we have 6 or 7? Jesus, we had 7.
I don't even know.
This is
I don't know
the modern UFC. Did we have 6 or 7 prelim fights on Fight Pass prelims?
I don't know,
Yeah.
but God knows you better switch that stream over when it hits the main card. Jesus Christ.
Silly nonsense. But anyway, 7 prelim fights. What impressed you out of the whole lot? What was your favorite fight or your favorite performance? Either one.
Oh, good God. You can't beat
They all
Dominic
kind of-
Steele just slamming the shit out of a guy, pretty much headbutting him out cold, by the
Hell
way,
yeah.
and then dropping bows just for good measure. Dan Henderson would be proud of those.
Mark
That
Coleman's proud of the headbutt.
Oh, 100%. And those finishing blows with the elbow probably sent chills up Michael Bisping's spine. But those, yeah, that was cool. And, I got to go to Wikipedia or SureDog or something. I really don't even remember. I mean, I watched them, and as soon as you say them, I'll know what was
Yeah.
good and what wasn't. Oh, the second fight was awful. That fight was ass. Was it the Ming Guangzhou
And Marco Beltran.
that fight sucked.
The worst fight we've seen in maybe 4 or 5 events, just like a real crap fight. And I'm sorry, that was 5:30 in the morning. You fucked up. UFC, you fucked up. Don't be putting that show on.
Well, look at it this way: a card like this, where hardly any names are recognizable to the standard run-of-the-mill MMA fan, most of the fights delivered, and
Yeah.
at least in one way or the other, whether it was squash match-esque or competitive, like our main event. No, I thought the card delivered well. Let me look at these real quick before.
Yeah, no, I'll run them down for you. After the Marcos Beltran split decision, we had Freddie Serrano, who kind of had a similar slam victory, but it was more of the injury variety.
That was pretty nasty.
Yeah, Yao. I guess it's pronounced like
Zakui?
Jikui.
Call him
Don't
Yao.
hold me to these guys. Don't hold me to these. Yeah, Freddie, the Spaniard, he put it on him with the slam and dislocated his elbow gruesomely. If you're a fan of, queeze-inducing medical maladies, definitely go ahead and check out that elbow, clearly dislocated. Yeah, don't post with that near side arm when getting slammed, guys. That's wrestling 101 right there.
Yeah, that
Uh,
was not a good idea to post on that. That was a nasty little picture there for us. But
did you
um,
look it up too?
what? No, I had a message. Wes is commenting on my Boston accent and saying it was pretty wicked awesome, and that there's nothing wrong with a good Southern accent. Naturally, Wesley being a big
Wes, you
Southern
don't
accent.
know a Boston accent. I'm a connoisseur of Boston accents.
Yeah.
I can
Anyhow,
place you in the region of Boston. I can get you
we-
in the neighborhood. Sorry, go
Wes,
ahead.
we clearly weren't referring to your amazing, Kentucky strong accent, because Wes, when he's on the mic, pure gold, pure gold.
Wes's voice sounds like whiskey tastes.
You get drunk off of it.
I don't know. I was reaching there a little bit. I'll grant that. I was reaching. It's 10
I was
a.m.
I was
My
attempting to
comedy
reel,
doesn't kick in until noon.
just trying to reel something in there, but
Yeah, I was close. Yeah,
yeah, we can't win them all.
just you step up to the plate, you put some swings on it. We watched Courtney
Lady
Casey.
fight.
No, go ahead.
I said lady fight.
Yeah,
I was
lady
trying
fight.
to
Yeah,
segue for you.
All right. So Courtney Casey fought Siho Hee Ham.
Celia
Yes. So
Hamderley
tough.
Silva.
By the way, stop it. Korean people, stop stealing Wanderlei Silva's nickname. None of you are Wanderlei Silva. None of you have the fortitude. None of you have the recklessness to take, steroids at an elite level like Wanderlei Silva did, and none of you are out there getting head tattoos and winging the widest hooks in the history of MMA. And yeah, you're gonna have that name. You're gonna have to, definitely have a lot more recklessness in your style. Um, Unanimous decision victory, 29-28 for Hammerley. Is that supposed to be
Yeah.
a nickname? Yeah, sure. Great. I thought it was actually a really good fight. As far as strawweight fights go, both these girls brought it. They, stood in the pocket. They traded a little bit. There was pretty good technique on display. For what it was, I thought it was the fight of the prelims. Competitive, back and forth. Either one could have won in the third round. What did you think about it?
I think the first 5 minutes, Courtney Casey looked really, really sharp. She looked like she was going to piece Hamderley up a little bit, but she slowed down. I thought that maybe being much larger and more athletic, she would try to impose her physical will on her a bit, but it didn't play out that way. She actually didn't really go to grappling or fence pressing at all, and inevitably lost her the fight. That and the clam shot at the end of the second round, I believe, because that certainly put her it set Courtney Casey back a little bit there, I got to say. And if I recall, that might be the first significant low blow in a women's fight that I can think of off
Yeah,
the top
that
of my
like
head.
that
Not that I
affected the
really keep
outcome. Yeah.
track of those off the top of my head. I'm just kidding about it affecting the outcome. I think she was already on her way to getting tired. Certainly didn't help her, though. That's for sure. I'm not sure how that feels. I'll have to ask someone who knows.
Yeah, I don't know. There was some interesting discussion from some of the women on Twitter over whether or not there's a cup. Apparently, it's illegal for women to wear a cup, but from the sound of that blow, it seemed like she wore a cup. So I don't know. I'm confused by the whole thing. The unified rules of MMA do state that it's illegal for a woman to wear a cup in the cage, which I don't know if I'm down with that so much because
Why is that a thing?
I,
Why?
well, I don't know how crazy is it that the unified rules were like, let's weigh in on this female cup issue, like on a harsh stance. They didn't like wishy-washy. They were like, fuck you, it's against the rules. I don't know. I imagine getting punted in the vagina hurts just as much as maybe not just as much as the dick. The thing women got to understand is you got those balls that are just like dangling out there.
They're just there. They're exposed. It's like,
And if they get pinched,
at least your ovaries are sucked in. Although a random toe could maybe slip in somewhere, that would be awful.
I
Can't
think
feel good.
I think the whole outer region, the whole labia section is probably going to be pretty vicious if you get like really good kick up in there.
Well, you take a shot to the clitoris, that's got to feel like something.
You're feeling sensations. Sensations are being felt, no question.
I mean,
yeah. So poor Courtney Casey. There was a lot of dick, and I guess
this was a very sexual card, was it not?
There was sexy Yama. There was, there was
Couple
fantastic
dongs.
pants, a lot of dongs, a lot of nut shots. We had a first
Clam bam.
significant, yeah, first significant clam band. That's the best term for it, maybe ever. It's gross enough to work. Yeah, this was, from Seoul, South Korea, the most sexual card of the year by the UFC. Kudos to you, UFC, for having the courage to put on a sexy card. It's what fans wanted forever.
It wasn't quite the caliber of HBO at night, but I mean, if I'm going to be up around that time, it's got to be, they did their best.
Yeah.
Only
Yeah.
thing that would have topped us off would be a nip slip. Can we just can we get what's her name back in there? God, what was that chick's name?
Yeah, that poor girl in the in the Reebok. Congratulations, Reebok. We've had female fights for like 5 years, and we've never had a nipple, pop out. Like, as soon as you're the uniform provider of the UFC, you're like, all right, let's make it so that these tits can pop directly out. Although I remember in a boxing event, some girl was wearing like breast shields. They were like 2 cups, like went over her, like yeah.
And that's
like
it. That's all she had on. Just breast shields.
No. She was wearing like one of those athletic bras over it. But this girl was punching her so hard to the body that one of the breast shields like popped out and hit her in the mouth. That will stick with me forever. If someone can find that fight and
I'm
tweet it
searching
at
it
me,
right now.
yeah,
I'm looking for that.
I'll watch it and I will give you kudos. All right, we had Jake Collar lose to Dongi Yang, which is kind of another Dong getting in there.
It is Dongi.
Yeah, Dongi. We're really stretching.
Dongi Kong.
Dongi. That's actually, you should roll with that. That's a free one. Joey G giving them away for free out there.
Sales back.
Yeah, TKO victory in the second round. Jake Collar got it looking really good in that spot until he decides to, to give up position. And you give up position in MMA, and sometimes you get TKO'd by ground and pound by a guy whose name is like the Bulldog. Oh, the Ox.
Yeah, he's really screwing up that nickname. He needs to get with me, management, Dongi Kong. I mean, that's perfect. But I don't know about Jake Collier. I liked him in this fight because, disclosure, I bet him for a couple units. That got flushed down the toilet real quick. I liked him because he was more aggressive than Yang, and he was going to put constant pressure on him. I thought that he'd probably press him into the fence. I thought he'd probably find his way into some takedowns. But, man, the way he was closing the distance was pretty awful and not safe for him. Just kind of windmilling like he's trying to do freestyle in a swimming pool, throwing just stupid-looking punches, getting hit every time, or getting lucky not to get hit every time he closed the distance. And, he got tagged a couple times. Yang is a big guy, too. He hits pretty hard. And then, yeah, let's roll for a knee bar near the fence where it's not going to work. And to Dongi Yang's credit, he was smart enough to grab the fence and hold himself up, which is
cheating, which is the proper defense.
Probably one of the smartest things you can do in MMA because, one, you're never going to lose a point for that, and two, we can name several instances when a well-timed cage grab was the difference between winning and losing. Just ask Chad Mendez. Yeah. Just ask, any number of fighters that have been on the wrong end of it. And how many of those guys got penalized for a cage grab? Very, very few of them. So, smart guy. Grab the fence.
I've always said being a high-level MMA fighter requires not just a good, knowledge of technique, not just high-level athleticism, but the will and the intelligence to cheat. You have to cheat in MMA because there's really no rules. We have rules, but they're really just like strong suggestions of how you should behave yourself inside the cage. So go ahead and cheat. You get at least 2 kicks to a dude's dick. If you're not kicking a dude in the dick, you're at a disadvantage. He's going to kick you in the dick. Or the vagina. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be sexist. Or the vagina. You got cage grabs. We had someone here grab the cage like 6 or 7 times in a fight, which was, solid work. I was proud of him every single time.
2 thumbs up for that.
Until people consistently lose points for something, you should be doing it every single time. What have we learned? We've learned that basically the only thing they'll take away a point for is if a dude is on the floor and you knee him directly in the head. Even sometimes you'll get away with that shit. So, MMA fighters cheat. This isn't a sport about rules. This isn't really a sport. It's really
Hey,
just like
don't
blood
forget
sport.
about eye pokes too. We saw a couple of those tonight.
Dude, the greatest pound for pound fighter in the world is the master of the eye poke. The eye poke is the most effective strike in MMA. You take a guy's vision out.
Just
What
ask
else?
John Jones.
Yeah, it's perfect. There's no defense against it. Your eyelid ain't stopping that eye poke. Joey's over here trying to eye poke me through virtual space. Yeah, no, you're not getting that. I'm gonna deduct a point if you try again. Yeah, so 100%. The point is cheat. Cheat more often. Yeah, that your dog needs an eye poke.
She's not deterred.
Yeah, no, it doesn't deter anyone else. It's the same thing. Like, remember when they allowed nut shots for like a brief window in MMA, and some guy took like 5 dick kicks like directly, and like they seemed to fire him up more than hurt him. I was like, oh, so everyone's just been faking the whole time. When they have to take 5 minutes over a dick kick, this guy's psyched about him. Yeah, how brutal would this? No, they wouldn't let it on Fox if it was just like
human cockfighting.
Dick punting 207.
It's like Jackass 3.0. Dick kick. Dick kick 4.
That would be something I would watch. Like,
sure, why not?
Kicking. Like if one dude kicks another dude in the dick until someone taps. I'll watch that. I'm not gonna follow it all that much, but I'll watch it on YouTube every once in a while. What haven't we talked about? Oh my God, we didn't talk about Divegate.
Divegate, yeah.
Which is what we're calling it. I don't know.
I think I'm the first one who said that. I'm gonna claim it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, take credit for it because it's pretty solid. Even though I hate the idea of calling anything a gate anymore, I'm just over it. Like
Watergate.
Stop. Watergate was an actual name of a hotel. People, shut up.
Yeah, that happened.
That was the thing. Yeah, Divegate happened. So we had, in case people don't know the background of the story, we had pretty much a toss-up fight. I think that Bang was the slight favorite on it, like minus 1.
He opened like minus 180 or something like that.
Oh yeah, was it that much? Okay.
And then he ended up. No, you take it, man. All right, I'll let her take it.
I'll fuck up the details. You should take it.
All right, I'm gonna try really hard. I actually, okay, so Bang opened like 180, and then he dropped down. It was near, oh God. Okay, see you later. Opened like, God bless. I just lost my train of thought. This
mutt. This
whoa,
dog.
Hey, he's full-blooded. Trust me. Not cheap.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so I think Bang opened like minus 180. Line came down, and then he was a slight dog at one point. I actually bet him at plus 135. And then, I'm watching some college football yesterday, which seems like today because I've slept like 20 minutes. And then I look, and he's like fucking plus 400.
Within the course of like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was
across maybe like 6 or 8 different online books that I watched, the ones that are on basically, best fight odds.
Mm-hmm.
About like 6 out of those 8 books, just the price shot up in about the span of 40 to 30 minutes. We had him run from or not talking about from the perspective of Bang, be the favorite to being a plus 300 underdog. A lot of people said that the fix was in, that this was Yakuza, which doesn't make sense because they're in Korea, not Japan. But maybe the Yakuza reaches out there. Yeah, I think most of this kind of revolved around, and this is just me kind of, armchair, observations here. Bang looked like he was injured walking out to the fight. It looked like he had a discernible limp. I think a lot of people mentioned it on Twitter. I think that information came out and that people tried to take advantage of it with some big money bets and some, actually, fortunately for the books, they accepted those big money bets and they got paid. Yeah, Bang I think was able to overcome his injuries and take a split decision. Was it a split decision? Yeah, split decision victory.
Which I think he deserved.
I think so too. Leo Kuntz
He
or Kuntz.
sucks. He's
He's
so
really
bad.
he might be in the new
Oh,
Christian Delulu or whatever his name is.
yeah. Tony Puddings, as they so gracefully named him. I think Brad Taschuk is responsible for that. Got to give him a shout. That was good. Tony Puddings. I don't know. Steve Kennedy. There's a couple. I'm really trying to refrain from saying guys suck. I'm sure that
I'm
even
sure
on
that
my
they're very
best day,
elite fighters.
Leo Kuntz would punt me to oblivion. But yeah, he's just not UFC caliber. And
Yeah, let's be
nowadays,
clear.
that's bad. That's
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. When I say a fighter sucks, I am not one of these naive people who thinks that I could beat any fighter. I'm not naive enough to think that like anyone who works out on a semi-regular basis that I can beat them up. You know, my days of kickboxing and wrestling have far passed me, and my fat content has just been growing and growing recently. So, yeah, I'm willing to submit that anyone can beat the shit out of me and on any given moment, really, any human being in the world, no matter how frail, you can definitely beat the shit out of me. I drink quite a bit. You catch me at a bad moment, you can cold clock me. Knock me the fuck out. So I'm not saying I'm better than these people. I'm just saying in the greater context of fight watching, and I watch a good bit of fighting, Leo Kuntz is just not very good. He needs to, he's not all that athletic, and the technique really isn't, quite there either.
I think you described him pretty well on Dan's show when you said that he's what a natural 155 pounder looks like. That he's just not very, he ain't cutting a lot of weight. He might be cutting out a few ho-hos in between fights, but that's about it. He's not really ripped up.
Yeah, the diet's clean.
He looks like me if I was, if I was on a solid, workout plan for a couple weeks and lost maybe 10, 15 pounds of extra trim here, I'd be, I'd look like Leo Kuntz, except bigger.
If you want
155 pounds, but yeah,
If you want two-a-days and you gave up desserts, you'd have a similar physique. Yeah, Leo Kuntz is what is a 155-pound fighter. Everyone wants to shut down weight cutting. It's like that's what your 55-pounders look like. They don't look like Benson Henderson. Benson Henderson's goddamn 200 pounds. He's a fucking phenom.
Tank.
Yeah,
those legs, man. Hey, sexiest thighs and calves in male MMA.
For sure, and for female MMA too. He's dominating the game. You got really upset. You got really upset when I go gay on you.
No, I know. I agree. I'm 100% with you. Like this is concurrence. This is concurrence right here.
Okay, good.
Holly Holmes got some nice legs, but
you can't touch Ben.
Ben. God damn, he's fucking sexy. Okay, sorry.
Sexiest card in UFC history.
It was, no doubt, man.
How much when he was making 155 pounds, like probably a good 40% of that weight was held in his quads.
The rest in his ass and calves, maybe marginal amounts in his mid. Dude, he is so thin in the waist. Like
he literally has to pump all the fluid out of his brain, but the quads are on point.
The hair might weigh about 5 pounds, and then after that, it's just like nothing but lean mass.
Solid lean muscle. Benson Henderson, you sexy little bastard. Yeah, quads for days. Probably the best quads in MMA. Yeah. That's natural too. You don't squat and get quads like that. That's all natural.
That's what happens when you cross African American with a Korean, man. That's the new master race right there.
I'm not touching that at all.
No, before it gets real racist, I think on our show, on CageCast, Nate Miller, which just is kind of racist, he goes, you really can't create a better killing machine than an Asian/black person. Black people have all the athleticism in the world, and the Asians are so damn smart. And so tactically and, physically, you don't beat a guy like that. It's just not easy to do.
I'm walking away from that ticking time bomb. But
that was Nate, by the way. That wasn't me. Nate said that.
All racist comments of the show direct complaints towards Nate Miller MMA. That's at Nate Miller MMA on Twitter for sure. Yeah. Everything that we said that was anyway interpreted racist all the complaints should go to him. He wrote all those.
All thoughts are not my own.
Yeah. The only fight we didn't talk about was Mike Dellatorre. I'm still not sure about that last name. And he got a probably another split decision. They were all split decisions today. Over
Yeah.
Yu Chun Nam, the Korean
Bulldozer.
bulldozer. Which shout out to Carlin Bardsley who correctly acknowledged that all Korean nicknames start with Korean.
Yeah,
We have the
Korean on deck sometime.
Korean Zombie. We have the Korean Bulldozer, the Korean Superboy. Solid. Everyone really wants you to know that they're Korean.
You know what? I
Who's
have
from?
a theory about this.
Okay.
I have a theory about this. It's that this is going to come off as racist too. Hang on, let me plug my headset in. It's really beeping in my ear.
Yeah, if we're gonna be racist, let's make sure the technology's
It's
set up.
probably telling me to not say anything racist.
That's
Like,
literally Nate calling it and being like, "I can't believe you guys are blaming me for being racist."
It's all right. So Nate said, "No, I'm just kidding." This is what
This
I
is
think.
something Nate thought.
Now, this is I went to school with an Asian guy. He became a pretty good friend of mine. He was from Macau, but he classified himself as Chinese. That's what he told me. He was
Yeah.
Chinese. Okay, so he was all up in arms. Anytime somebody would call him Japanese or just Korean, or because to them they hate being misidentified.
Yeah.
And so I think that they just want to make sure that he's Korean. So it's the Korean zombie. It's not the Chinese zombie. It's not the Japanese zombie. It's not even the Asian zombie. It's the Korean zombie.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I mean I get racially misidentified like all the time, but as as a white man, I've learned not to give a fuck about anything at all. As when it turns to like they're like, oh
Yeah, you're pretty black.
you misidentified me as the wrong white race. Yeah, excuse me. Oh, I'll still get out of the ticket. Thank you, officer. Take it easy. Have a good one. Yes, this is an open container of alcohol. Have a good day, sir. Yeah, same to you. The Korean Bulldozer, kind of was doing his thing, but that stall game really wasn't enough to to stave off Mike Delatorre's kickboxing. I thought that he kind of showed himself to be, a better all-around MMA fighter. Got a split decision victory that I thought was actually an easy 20 or 30-27 for him. But it wasn't Seoul, so you're gonna have a little bit of hometown cooking. I'm glad that you got the split decision anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that maybe the Bulldozer got around there, but he wasn't winning that fight. I wanted him to. I picked him, but didn't bet him. So, whatevs.
Yeah, right. I went very bad. We've talked about all the fights, so we'll talk about the card in general. I did very badly, or very poorly, if I can learn how to speak real quick. Picking this fight, I got 4 fights correct. But fortunately for me, I only bet 3 fights, and 2 of those I got correct.
Those right. There you go.
There you go. So it's important. It's not how you pick them; it's how you bet them here, people. How'd we do anyway? You make some money tonight? You lose some money? What's your deal?
I actually had a fantastic betting night. I made 7.07 units.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's just raining from the ceiling. It's Akiyama dollars falling from the ceiling over here.
We're making Korean pop money, baby.
Make it rain on them hoes, yeah. So we got a Henderson Donghyun Kim parlay. It was a 3-unit bet at -155. That cashed. The Kim Waters under cash for 2 units. I got Mina. I got Bang. I got Beltran, all his dogs, and Ben Henderson by decision for 2 units. And my only losses were plays on Courtney Casey and Jay Collier, who I had to lay a little bit of juice on. So, I mean, I like the plays.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I will never bet on Jake Collier again because he does dumb shit. And, and also probably shouldn't be betting on women's fights very often because variance, it's not very predictable.
You know what? Here, important lesson for the bettors out there. Don't just walk away from the losses trying to learn some stuff. Walk away from the winning nights trying to learn a thing or two. I'm in the same boat. I won't bet a 155-pound women's fight. That's nonsense. That's a clear path to losing money in my world. So maybe there's some people out there who can call these fights a little bit better, but it always seems like there's just complete chaos. Sometimes better fighters are getting subbed late. Sometimes, a fighter who's supposed to be, really technically skilled goes out there and puts on a garbage performance. So it's a hard division to predict. Just don't bet them at all. I picked Courtney Casey in this fight. I liked how she looked in this fight. Everything kind of happened the way that I thought it would, but still somehow, Ham's, experience offensive output, got her the victory. And I think she deserved the victory, but it was a good example of why not to bet strawweight fights in general. And 100%. Let's never. Everyone who bets, make a pact with me here. Let's never bet Jake Collier again. Fade Jake
Agreed.
Collier. 2015.
Yeah, we got this.
Okay. All right, man. Give me your fight of the night. Give me 2 performances of the night. Beat Joe Silva.
Joe Silva, huh? Well, do I have to sacrifice my God-given height because I don't think I want to be as short as Joe Silva? But
you can stand on his money, and then it'll bring you right back to the height you were at.
There you go. Stand on the money. I like it. I guess for fight of the night, you can kind of take the easy way out here and say that Ben Henderson and Jorge Masvidal was fight of the night because, maybe some people wouldn't appreciate it, maybe not the casual fan, but I thought it was a very high-level MMA bout, a lot of chess going on there. And as I said on Twitter, you're just not going to beat Ben Henderson playing chess very often. So I like that fight for fight of the night. As far as my performances, as I mentioned already, you can't overlook Dominique Steele. I think that was only the 8th knockout by slam in UFC history. I read that somewhere. And just for better sakes, I'm gonna give a performance of the night to Tai-Hyun Bang because he just shit on everybody who faded the shit out of him. So there you go.
Yes, I love that we just anyone who caused misery were like, I like that guy who fucked over a gang of people, and it wasn't me who got fucked over.
Absolutely.
My fight of the night goes to Benson Henderson, Jorge Masvidal. I think that a decent actually argument could be made for Mina Akiyama, except that 3rd round ended up being so lackluster. If we'd had an exciting 3rd round, we would have been all set there, and they would have kind of been in the running for it. And maybe the girls' fight, if the Benson Henderson fight hadn't gone the way that it did. I think that Benson Henderson Masvidal is the shoe-in for fight of the night. Performance of the night, we'll give it to Dooho Cho with a clean 1st round knockout. And let's give it to Dominique Steele because I like giving it to guys early in the fight, and hopefully he gets paid for that because that was probably the most entertaining knockout of the night, and slam knockouts are cool as fuck.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right, teacher. Overall, give this a grade, A to F.
Oh, man. For what the product was and what we got in return for our
Put it in
money,
context.
I guess if you're subscribing to Fight Pass and actually staying up like a degenerate as I did, I got to give it a B+ because really nothing really there was that one fight that really disappointed. I mean, there were some moments here and there where you were just like, this fight is whatever. But on the large scale of things, I think it was a great fight card, ended with a great main event, and B+.
Yeah, I'm looking at my scores, and I'll go with that. I'll go with a B+ all the way. I thought that there was 2 very entertaining scraps, or 2 very entertaining knockouts. One really high-level fight, a couple squash matches, and one real terrible thing. The terrible fight was early, so has less weight. Shit that happened early in the semester is more forgivable. So B+ on the card for me as well. That's a bow on it. That's UFC Fight Night. God, what
79.
79. Jesus Christ.
I just started calling them by the location. If I hashtag anything, I fucking hate hashtagging UFC Fight Night. Let me go look at Wikipedia real quick. 79. I don't want to.
Well, it has no more meaning. So I like the location, but pretty soon the location isn't going to have meaning because we're going to go to Seoul, South Korea, probably 4 times in the next 3 years. So we're going to have to start calling them like Korea 2015.
I'll just use them over again. I don't care that much.
That's a great point.
It's not like when you go watch a football game, nobody's like, this is Patriots, Bills, 172. It's not that many, but you get my point. Yeah, it's stupid. So
yeah, let's be real, people. Care less about dumb shit. And care more about making good bets and putting money in your pocket. All right, thanks. That'll be the show. Thanks, Joey, for coming on. I always appreciate it, and you came on kind of short notice, so I very much appreciate that. Why don't you tell the listeners out there where they can find your work?
Yeah, I am at Joey G Sports. I have a little website that's still in progress as far as getting creative looking and adding stuff, but I have all my bets posted on there every single day. So if you ever are interested in betting something, go to joeygsports.com and the current pending bets tab. And I see you smiling over there. I think it has something to do with maybe a conversation we had with a certain individual back a little while ago. See, I'm a good mind reader. By the way, I hope you're listening. I hope you're enjoying the money I made tonight, and you probably lost, so I really don't care. I blocked you, so yeah, fuck you. Anyway, and follow me and Nate Miller MMA in our podcast, Cage Cash. We actually cashed our unanimous decision tonight, which was Ben Henderson by decision. And that's our bet that we give out every week. So follow us, make some cash.
Yeah, shout out to Nate Miller and you guys' podcast, Cagecast. Big fan of that. I won't say what I was going to say. I've recently been.
Should, but it's okay. I'll give you a pass.
Okay, yeah.
Let me be the asshole. I'll wear it.
I've recently been unblocked, so I'm back into the fold. The joy that is following that Twitter account, and I'm not even going to mention his name because that'll piss him off the most. All right, people. My name's Andrew Lawrence. Enough with the inside jokes. You can find me at any time at the Clown Kid on Twitter. Shout me out. We can talk MMA. I'll usually respond to most people, especially if you say something funny or topical. As always, this is Before the Bald Man Speaks. Please, click that old thumbs up link on the YouTube channel if you could. It helps me out a little bit. And subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about the show. Thank you to Joey G Sports, Joe Gardner. Always a pleasure, man. Thank you all for listening. Take it easy. Have a good day. Peace.